Okay guys, now that you have the basics of how to solve inequalities, we're just going to go over a few examples on multi-step inequalities. Now what I want you to really remember here is when we solve an equation, we always make sure that we follow PEMDAS backwards, meaning that we always start with the addition and subtraction and then move to the multiplication and division. So in a multi-step equation, you have to remember that. So let's look at a few examples. Alright, so our first one here, we've got 13 minus 11d is greater than or equal to 79. So again, PEMDAS backwards, start with the addition or subtraction. We're going to subtract 13 from both sides because 13 is positive here and we want it to become 0. That leaves us with negative 11d is greater than or equal to 79 minus 13, which is 66. Now we can do the multiplication or division. This is multiplication here, so the opposite is division. We're dividing by a negative 11. And remember, if we divide by a negative, we need to flip the sign. That disappears, so we're left with just the d is less than or equal to negative 6. This should seem very familiar, just dealing with the options of when you multiply or divide by a negative. All right, let's look at another one. This one's a little bit more complex. Notice there's parentheses there. What do parentheses mean? It means distribute. Notice we have c's on both sides of the equation. So, if you recall, the first thing that you need to do is distribute, followed by all variables on one side, and then you do the adding or subtracting, and finally the multiplying or dividing. Okay, so let's do our distributing. We're going to distribute a 3, so that's going to give us 6c plus 6 minus 3c is greater than or equal to negative 2c plus 1. Now we need all variables to the same side. You have options here. You could subtract 6c, or you could add 2c. I think adding 2c is the better decision here. It'll make for less complicated negatives and such. That'll give us 8c as that disappears, plus 6 minus 3c is greater than or equal to 1. Alright, so we've got all the c's on the same side. We do actually need to combine them now. Alright, so we've got 8c minus 3c. That'll give us 5c plus 6 is greater than or equal to 1. And now we do our addition or subtraction, which gives us 5c is greater than or equal to negative 5. We do our multiplication or division. In this case, we're dividing by a positive, so we do not need to flip the sign, and we have our final answer. C is greater than or equal to negative 1. All right, let's move on to the next set of problems. These problems have to deal with empty sets and all reals, and I'll tell you what that means here in a minute once we've solved it. Okay, so you notice we've got a lot going on here. We've got some parentheses, which means we have to distribute. We've got a couple s's, which means we're going to have to move all variables to the same side. So let's start with the distributing, and we've got two sets of distributing that we're going to do at the same time just to make our lives less complex. That'll give us negative 7s plus negative 28 plus 11s is greater than or equal to 8s minus 4s minus 2. Now we're going to combine some like terms so that we can move them all to one side. We've got negative 7s and 11s. So that would give me negative 28 plus 3s is greater than or equal to, and I've got 8s minus 4s. That's going to give me, I did some bad math. Uh-oh, back up, back up, back up. What's negative 7 plus 11? 4s, silly teacher. All right, 8s minus 4s, 4s minus 2. All right, move all variables to the same side. So let's go ahead and subtract that, make it disappear. Subtract that. Uh-oh, it disappears. What are we left with? Negative 28 is greater than or equal to negative 2. Is that true? Is negative 28 bigger than negative 2? No. So that means there is no solution. So now you understand why it says empty set in all reals. Empty set means there's no solution. There's no numbers that will work. All right, let's try this one. And I bet you can guess it's going to be all reals or infinite solutions, but let's solve it and make sure. So again, we've got some distributing going on. Always do the distributing first. So that's going to give me 8r plus 6 is less than or equal to 22 plus 8r minus 16. Let's get all variables to the same side. That disappears. Oop, so does that. We get 6 is less than or equal to 22 minus 16 is 6. Is 6 less than or equal to 6? Yes, it is. So there's no variables. So we don't have one solution, but infinite solutions. Or all real numbers are a solution. All right, so what I'd like you guys to do tonight is online book practice. Go to your online book, log in, click the menu bar, and you've got, I think if I remember correctly, about 8 problems that you need to solve. All right, good luck, guys.